Martha ran. I ran after her, and without quite knowing how it happened, found myself sitting in my usual place in the dining room. I waited for a few minutes. The professor did not come. As far as I knew, he had never missed his lunch before. And what a wonderful lunch it was, soup, eggs, meat, and fish, served with an excellent German wine. My uncle was going to miss all this because of a piece of old parchment. Well, I was his nephew. I thought I ought to eat for him as well as for myself. And so I did. Professor Lindenbrock nodded at the table, said Martha. Okay, I was his nephew. I thought I ought to eat for him as well as for myself, and so I did. Professor Lindenbrock. Not at the table, said Martha, shaking her head. That means something serious is going to happen. I did not think it meant anything except perhaps trouble for me because I had eaten my uncle's lunch. I had just finished when a voice re-roared. I leapt from the dining room and ran to study. Okay, guys, now it's time to read chapter 2, Psychonism Puzzle. Okay. It's definitely unique, said the professor crossly, but I cannot understand it. I think it is some kind of secret message, and I intend to find out what it means. Sit down and get ready to write. I was ready. Now I am going to call out to you the letters of the alphabet that match these unique letters. We will see if that solves it. But be careful not to make any mistakes, I warn you. I was as careful as I could be. He called out the letters, one after another, and together they formed three lists, each of which had 7 words in it. But the words were impossible to understand. My uncle seized the paper on which I had written and studied it for a long time. What does it mean? He kept asking himself. It's a puzzle where the letters have been purposely mixed up. Just think, perhaps in their correct order, they will lead us to some great discovery. I doubt it, but sensibly, I did not understand. So, to my uncle, the professor compared the writing in the book with the writing on the piece of parchment. The writing is different, he said, and that double M at the beginning wasn't used in Ireland until the 14th century. So the puzzle is at least 200 years later than the book. I think one of the owners of the book must have composed it. But who was he? Now I wonder if he wrote his name somewhere on the manuscript. My uncle lifted his glasses and examined the opening pages of the book through a magnifying glass on the back of the second page. He found a few faded letters and seconds, man. He cried triumphantly. That's the name of a famous Icelandic scientist of the 16th century. Those old scientists made some amazing discoveries, and those who discoveries in those days, why Sakunussem may have written about one of them in the puzzle. The professor was excited by the idea, but why should a scientist want to hide a wonderful discovery in this way? I asked. Why indeed? That's what we are going to find out. I shall neither eat nor sleep until I understand this piece of parchment, and nor shall you. Alex, he added, I am glad I ate 2 lunches today, I thought. First, said my uncle, we must try to find the key to the code. That should be easy. The words on the parchment contain so many vowels that they must belong to the one of the southern languages of Europe. Sykenomans was an educated man. When he was not writing in his own language, he would have written in Latin. So this is Latin, but Latin in a mixture of form.